Keanu Reeves had always been known for his quiet and humble nature. Unlike many people in Hollywood, he rarely sought the spotlight for things that weren't related to his work. He moved through life in a way that felt almost ordinary, even though millions of people around the world knew his face and admired his talent. He didn't chase trends or try to be popular on social media. In fact, he often avoided it. He valued privacy and authenticity more than fame or approval. It was this sense of simplicity that drew people to him, even when the world around him seemed loud and chaotic. One morning, Keanu received a call from a producer who had a unique idea. The producer wanted him to make a video, something short but meaningful aimed at older adults. The concept was unusual and not the typical type of project that Keanu took on. He listened politely as the producer explained that the video would highlight small life lessons that most seniors often missed. It wasn't about grand speeches or dramatic effects. It was about noticing the little things in life, things that might seem ordinary, but could make a big difference in how someone experienced their day. Keanu felt a little hesitant. He had done movies, interviews, and public appearances, but this idea felt different. It wasn't about entertainment in the traditional sense. It was about connection, observation, and understanding. At first, Keanu's mind was full of doubts. He thought about how few people might actually pay attention to such subtle details. Would anyone even notice what he was trying to convey? He wondered if the project would feel too slow or too quiet, especially in a world where flashy content often got all the attention. He worried that people might dismiss it as boring or unimportant. For a moment, he considered refusing. The idea of making a video that only a small audience might understand didn't feel rewarding. Yet a tiny part of him was curious. There was a challenge in communicating something meaningful in a way that could be easily missed, but once noticed could leave a lasting impression. Despite his hesitation, Keanu agreed to take a short visit to a local senior center to observe the environment. He wanted to understand who he would be speaking to and what they might need. The center was a simple place filled with ordinary furniture, books, and photos of past events. Seniors walked slowly, exchanged smiles, and engaged in conversations that seemed casual but were filled with shared history and experiences. Keanu watched quietly, not wanting to disturb them. He noticed how they interacted with each other and with the world around them. Small moments caught his attention. The way one person carefully arranged their papers, the way another paused to notice a bird outside the window, or how a simple word of encouragement could light up someone's face. He realized that these moments, which many might overlook, were deeply significant to the people experiencing them. As he continued observing, Keanu began to see a pattern. There were so many simple truths in life that people didn't often take the time to notice. These truths were not complicated, but they required attention and mindfulness. He remembered his own life, filled with moments he had taken for granted. The more he watched, the more he understood that the project might be important, even if only a few people fully appreciated it. He thought about the idea of reaching just a small percentage of seniors and helping them notice these hidden patterns in their lives. Even if only 1 in 100 truly understood the message, it could change the way they lived, thought, or felt. Despite this realization, the doubts didn't disappear completely. Keanu still worried about how to communicate these ideas without seeming condescending. He didn't want to talk down to anyone or make them feel like they were being taught something they should already know. He wanted the video to feel like a gentle conversation, something personal and respectful. He spent hours thinking about tone, pace, and the kinds of moments he could highlight. He even practiced speaking aloud, trying to find the right words that felt natural, authentic, and simple. It was challenging, but he felt a quiet excitement building inside him. There was a purpose here that he hadn't felt in a long time. In the following days, Keanu started to engage more with the seniors, listening to their stories and observing the way they experienced the world. He realized that many of them had valuable lessons to share, not in a dramatic or public way, but in small, meaningful gestures and expressions. Each person had a story, a habit, or a way of seeing things that could teach others something important. Keanu's respect for these individuals grew, and with it his desire to make the video grew as well. He felt a responsibility not just to the idea but to the people themselves. He wanted to honor their experiences, their wisdom, and the quiet beauty in their daily lives. During this time, Keanu also reflected on his own life. He thought about the times he had rushed through moments, overlooked details, or failed to notice the small wonders around him. Watching the seniors reminded him of the value of slowing down, of paying attention, and of appreciating the ordinary. He realized that this project wasn't just about teaching others. It was also about reminding himself. There was a sense of humility and gratitude in this understanding, a feeling that he was part of something bigger than fame or recognition. He began to see the video not as a challenge but as an opportunity to connect, to observe, and to share something meaningful. The preparation for the video continued slowly. Keanu worked on the script in his own way, focusing on clarity, simplicity, and authenticity. He avoided complicated words or flashy ideas, instead emphasizing small details that often went unnoticed. He planned short scenes that highlighted ordinary moments like noticing a bird in the sky, appreciating a warm smile, or observing the rhythm of daily routines. Each scene was designed to resonate with the viewer, to make them pause and reflect. The goal was not to impress, but to touch hearts subtly and genuinely. Even though the project still felt intimidating at times, Keanu found comfort in the process. He enjoyed the quiet work, the careful thought, and the gentle exploration of life's overlooked moments. There was a peace in creating something meaningful, even if it was small and subtle. He understood that the real value of the video would not be measured by numbers, likes, or views, but by the impact it had on the individuals who truly noticed and understood it. This realization gave him a sense of purpose and renewed energy. By the end of the first week of preparation, Keanu felt a mix of nervousness and anticipation. He had accepted the challenge, and though he didn't know exactly how it would be received, he believed in its importance. He had discovered something profound in observing the seniors, the beauty of simplicity, the power of attention, and the subtle lessons that life offers if we are willing to see them. This understanding stayed with him as he moved forward, guiding every decision he made about the video. It was the beginning of a journey, one that promised to be quiet but meaningful, subtle but transformative. Keanu knew that the work ahead would test his patience and creativity, but he also knew that it had the potential to touch lives in a way few projects ever could. And with that thought, he began to prepare for the next step, ready to bring his vision to life, one small moment at a time. Keanu Reeves began spending more time at the senior center, not as a celebrity, but as someone genuinely interested in understanding the people around him. He walked slowly down the hallways, observing the way seniors moved and interacted with one another. He noticed small habits that seemed ordinary but carried deep meaning. One man carefully polished the handles of a door over and over, as if each touch reminded him of something important from the past. A woman arranged her books in a very particular order, checking them again and again, her face lighting up whenever she found a volume in its proper place. Keanu watched silently, realizing that these small rituals held stories, emotions, and memories that were powerful in their simplicity. Every day, he tried to engage in small conversations, listening more than talking. He would sit with a group in the lounge and simply watch them interact. Sometimes he asked gentle questions like, what made a particular day special, or how they remembered events from years ago. People responded in ways that were honest, thoughtful, and often unexpectedly profound. Keanu realized that these conversations, though simple, revealed truths about life that were often overlooked. Things like patience, attention to detail, and appreciation for small joys were lessons many younger people missed entirely. One afternoon, Keanu joined a group playing a quiet board game. He didn't care about winning or losing. He just wanted to be part of the experience. As the game unfolded, he noticed how people laughed at small mistakes, how they encouraged each other when someone struggled, and how the joy of participation outweighed the result itself. It struck him that so much of life was like this board game. It wasn't just about the big achievements, but the little moments in between that mattered the most. Watching these interactions, he felt a deep respect for the patience and resilience of the seniors, and he began thinking about how to capture that essence in his video. Keanu also started noticing patterns in the environment itself. He observed how sunlight moved across the room during different times of the day, how shadows fell on objects, and how small sounds, the ticking of a clock, the rustle of papers, could change the mood of a space. He realized that many seniors noticed these subtleties more than younger people did, perhaps because they had learned to slow down and pay attention. This insight became a key idea for the video: the importance of noticing what others often overlook, and how doing so could bring small but significant happiness. During these visits, Keanu occasionally shared small stories from his own life. He kept them simple and relatable, never trying to impress anyone with fame or accomplishments. He told about quiet moments on set, about learning patience during long shoots, or about times when he had paused to notice something beautiful in the world. Each story was met with interest, smiles, or gentle nods. Through these exchanges, Keanu realized that storytelling wasn't about spectacle, it was about honesty and connection. The impact came from being human, not famous. One day, Keanu noticed a woman sitting quietly by the window, watching birds in the garden. He joined her, observing the movement of the birds in silence. After a while, she shared how watching birds had become a daily ritual for her, a way to find peace and remember past moments. Keanu listened carefully, understanding that these tiny daily experiences were like invisible threads weaving together a sense of meaning and joy. He realized that the video needed to capture these subtle threads, showing viewers that happiness wasn't always in grand events but in the small, often unnoticed details of everyday life. Keanu also began experimenting with his own observations. He took mental notes of small gestures, habits, and interactions that seemed meaningful. A smile shared between friends, the careful folding of a blanket, the way a hand rested on a table while someone thought deeply. These small acts were full of life lessons. He wanted the video to reflect these moments without exaggeration, to keep them authentic and relatable. He understood that if he could capture this feeling, the viewers who truly paid attention might feel a personal connection to the content, like someone had quietly noticed them. The process of preparing the video slowly changed Keanu. Spending time with seniors reminded him of the value of patience, empathy, and observation. He became more attentive to the little details in his own life, like the way sunlight fell on a table at home, the way a cup of coffee smelled in the morning, or the way a kind word could lift someone's spirit. These observations became part of his script, guiding the pacing and tone of the video. He realized that the video wasn't just a project for the audience. It was a reflection of his own journey in learning to see the world with care and attention. Keanu also faced moments of doubt. He wondered whether the audience would understand the subtle lessons he was trying to convey. He worried that some people might find the video too slow or simple, but each time he visited the senior center, he remembered the small acts of joy, the quiet stories, and the little rituals that held so much meaning. He realized that impact didn't always come from reaching everyone. It came from reaching those who were willing to notice, those who could appreciate the hidden beauty in life. This understanding strengthened his commitment to the project. He started thinking about the flow of the video, imagining how one small moment could lead naturally to another. A hand brushing over a piano key could lead to the sound of a bird singing, which could then lead to a quiet conversation about a memory. Keanu envisioned these connections as gentle, almost invisible threads linking everyday moments into a narrative that felt real and heartfelt. He wanted viewers to pause, think, and feel, not just watch passively. The challenge was to do this without any flashy visuals or dramatic music, keeping the focus on authenticity. As days passed, Keanu noticed a shift in himself. He felt calmer, more observant, and more connected to the world around him. The senior's quiet wisdom had a subtle effect on him, teaching him lessons that fame and success never had. He understood that life's most important insights often came from ordinary experiences, and that paying attention was the key to understanding them. This awareness became the foundation of his approach to the video. He wanted it to feel like a shared experience, a gentle reminder that small moments mattered and could transform how people perceived their lives. Keanu also learned to appreciate silence. He realized that quiet moments could be as powerful as words, that watching, listening, and reflecting could communicate more than speaking loudly or acting dramatically. He incorporated this understanding into the structure of the video, planning pauses that allowed viewers to absorb the scenes, notice details, and reflect on their own experiences. The pacing was deliberate, with the intention of encouraging mindfulness rather than distraction. He wanted the video to feel like a gentle conversation, a shared observation of life's small wonders. In the evenings, Keanu reviewed his notes and observations. He wrote down the little details that stood out. the way a hand trembled slightly while pouring tea, the pattern of light on a wall, the expression of contentment on someone's face. Each observation became a building block for the scenes he wanted to create. He imagined how these moments could be linked together in a way that felt natural and engaging. He focused on keeping everything simple, avoiding complicated language or ideas, and emphasizing human emotions and connections. Through this process, Keanu realized that the seniors were not just participants in the video, they were teachers. They were showing him how to slow down, how to observe, and how to appreciate the small but significant details of life. Each interaction was a lesson in empathy, patience, and mindfulness. He felt a deep gratitude for their willingness to share their stories even in quiet, subtle ways. This gratitude became a driving force behind the project, motivating him to create something that honored their wisdom and experience. By the end of the second week, Keanu felt ready to begin filming. He had a clear vision of the tone, the pacing, and the types of moments he wanted to capture. He understood that the video's success wouldn't be measured by numbers or popularity, but by the impact it had on those who noticed the subtle details. The experience had changed him, and he hoped it would also inspire viewers to slow down, observe, and appreciate the small joys in their own lives. He knew the journey ahead would require patience and attention to detail, but he felt a quiet confidence that the project would resonate with the right audience. As he prepared for filming, Keanu carried with him the lessons he had learned, the value of observation, the importance of patience, and the power of simple human connections. He wanted the video to be more than a project. He wanted it to be a reflection of life as it truly was, full of small, meaningful moments that often go unnoticed. He felt ready to bring these ideas to life, to share the quiet wisdom he had discovered, and to create something that could touch hearts in a way that words alone never could. The journey was just beginning, but Keanu knew he had already learned more than he could have imagined, and he was eager to continue. Keanu Reeves stood in the quiet studio, feeling the weight of the project he had begun. The senior center visits had opened his eyes, and now it was time to translate those observations into something meaningful on camera. The challenge was bigger than he had imagined. Every detail mattered: the lighting, the pacing, the sounds, and even the spaces between words. He wanted the video to feel gentle and authentic, but he also needed it to engage viewers without overwhelming them. The balance was delicate, and he knew he would have to approach it with care. The first day of filming was both exciting and nerve-wracking. Keanu had planned the scenes carefully, but he knew that nothing could fully prepare him for the real process. The cameras captured moments in a way that sometimes felt lifeless, and he had to remind himself that the magic lay not in the equipment, but in the small, meaningful gestures of the people involved. He encouraged participants to act naturally, to live the moment rather than perform for the camera. This approach created a sense of authenticity, but it also meant patience was essential. There were pauses, quiet reflections, and times when nothing seemed to happen at all. Yet Keanu knew these moments would be the heart of the video. He focused on capturing ordinary activities that carried subtle messages. One scene featured a woman gently arranging flowers on a table, pausing to notice each bloom before adjusting it. Another showed a man carefully folding a newspaper, making sure each corner aligned perfectly. Keanu realized that these small, intentional actions spoke volumes about attention, care, and presence. They didn't need dramatic music or dialogue to communicate meaning. Instead, the quiet attention to detail invited viewers to slow down and notice the small things in their own lives. Filming was not without challenges. Some days the lighting was wrong, or a moment felt forced. Keanu found himself questioning whether viewers would understand the nuances he was trying to convey. Would they notice the subtle smile that crossed someone's face when a memory returned? Would they appreciate the calm rhythm of someone's morning routine? Doubts surfaced constantly, but he reminded himself that the video wasn't meant to reach everyone. It was meant to resonate with those willing to pay attention. The focus on authenticity over mass appeal became his guiding principle. During breaks, Keanu walked around the set, observing details that might otherwise go unnoticed. He noticed the soft creak of a chair, the way sunlight shifted across the room, and the small gestures people made unconsciously. He realized that these tiny elements could add layers of meaning to the video if captured thoughtfully. Even the way a shadow fell on a table or the gentle tapping of a finger on a cup could convey emotion. He started making mental notes and adjusting the camera angles, lighting, and pacing to include these subtle touches. Keanu also spent time listening to the participants' stories. He discovered that many had lived through experiences that shaped their attention to detail and appreciation for small moments. One person shared how a simple ritual of morning tea had been a source of comfort for decades. Another talked about walking in the park every day and noticing the changes in seasons as a way to stay grounded. These stories became a source of inspiration, influencing how Keanu framed each scene. He realized that the video was not just about observation, but about honoring lived experiences and turning them into relatable moments for viewers. The process of filming slowly changed Keanu's approach to work. He became more patient, allowing scenes to unfold naturally instead of rushing to capture the perfect take. He understood that real life didn't happen in perfect frames or predictable sequences. Moments of beauty and insight often appeared unexpectedly, and the key was to be present and ready to notice them. He started to trust his instincts more, letting the participants guide the flow rather than imposing his own ideas rigidly. This shift created a sense of collaboration, where everyone involved felt seen, respected, and valued. One day, while filming a particularly quiet scene, Keanu noticed a small, unexpected moment. A participant paused mid-action, looked out the window, and smiled at something only they could see. Keanu signaled to the crew to keep filming without interruption. That pause, simple and unplanned, carried more emotion than any scripted line could. He realized that sometimes the most powerful moments were those that couldn't be predicted or controlled. This became a central lesson for the video. Life's meaning often lies in spontaneous, unobserved acts that reveal depth and humanity. Keanu also paid close attention to sound. He noticed how the rustle of papers, the clink of a cup, or the soft footsteps across the floor added texture to the scenes. He avoided loud, intrusive music, opting instead for natural ambient sounds that complemented the visuals. The quiet rhythm created a space for viewers to reflect and connect with what they were seeing. It was subtle, but he knew it would allow the audience to feel rather than just watch. Throughout the filming, Keanu faced moments of doubt and frustration. Some scenes didn't turn out as he envisioned. Others seemed too slow or uneventful. He wrestled with the question of whether viewers would engage with such simplicity in a world dominated by constant stimulation. But each time he returned to the senior center, even in his memory, he was reminded of why he had started. The quiet gestures, the shared smiles, and the small rituals of daily life held profound meaning. He realized that even if only a few viewers truly noticed these details, the impact could be significant. This understanding renewed his commitment to capturing authenticity above all else. Keanu began experimenting with transitions between scenes. He avoided dramatic cuts or flashy effects, focusing instead on gentle shifts that felt natural. A hand closing a book might lead to a window catching the sunlight, or a slow sip of tea could segue into a soft breeze through the room. Each connection was intentional but subtle, designed to create a flow that mirrored real life. He wanted the video to feel like a quiet journey, guiding viewers to notice connections between small actions and their emotional significance. The director and crew started to notice a change in Keanu as well. His focus, patience, and deep attention to detail influenced everyone on set. The participants responded to his calm presence, feeling more comfortable and authentic in front of the camera. The energy shifted from a task-oriented process to a shared exploration of life's small wonders. Keanu realized that the video was becoming more than a project. It was a reflection of a way of being, a mindfulness practice captured in visual form. During one particularly long day, Keanu reviewed the footage and felt a quiet sense of satisfaction. The video was slow, subtle, and unassuming, but it carried weight. Each scene was full of life and emotion, even without overt drama or spectacle. He noticed patterns emerging, the way small actions revealed character, the importance of observation, and the quiet joy found in everyday moments. He understood that the audience might not notice everything immediately, but those who did would feel a deeper connection and understanding. Keanu also reflected on his own growth during the process. Spending hours observing, listening, and filming had taught him lessons about patience, presence, and empathy. He realized that the video was not just a tool for viewers, but a mirror for himself. He had learned to slow down, to notice what others might overlook and to appreciate the small but meaningful details of life. This personal insight became part of the energy he brought to the camera, adding authenticity and depth to the project. As the filming days continued, Keanu focused on refining the details that made the video human-centric. He emphasized eye contact, gentle smiles, and subtle expressions. He paid attention to body language and posture, understanding that much could be communicated without words. The goal was not to teach, preach, or entertain in a conventional sense, but to invite viewers into a space of observation and reflection. He wanted the audience to feel as if they were sharing quiet moments alongside the participants, noticing the beauty and significance in what might otherwise seem ordinary. Keanu also worked closely with the editor, discussing how to maintain the natural flow and authenticity in the final cut. He rejected over-editing or embellishment, insisting that the power of the video lay in the raw, unpolished moments. He believed that real life, with all its pauses and imperfections, was more compelling than any staged or artificial scene. Together, they experimented with pacing, transitions, and sound, carefully preserving the subtleties that made the footage meaningful. By the end of the filming process, Keanu felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The video was quiet but profound, subtle but engaging, and most importantly, human. It reflected the lessons he had learned from the seniors, the beauty of observation and the power of small, meaningful moments. He understood that it would not appeal to everyone, but for those who noticed and appreciated the nuances, it could be transformative. The experience had changed him, and he hoped it would change the viewers in similar ways. Keanu walked through the final footage one last time, feeling a mix of nervousness and anticipation. He knew the video carried his respect and admiration for the seniors, his observations of life's subtle moments, and his commitment to authenticity. It was not about fame, popularity, or numbers. It was about connection, reflection, and empathy. He hoped that those who watched carefully would catch the lessons hidden in small gestures, subtle expressions, and quiet routines. He understood that the true success of the video lay not in its reach, but in its ability to touch hearts and encourage mindfulness in those who engaged with it deeply. As he prepared to share the video with the world, Keanu reflected on the journey so far. He had begun hesitant, unsure if anyone would notice or care about the subtle messages he aimed to convey. Now he felt confident that even if only a small percentage of viewers truly understood, the impact would be meaningful. Life's most profound lessons often come quietly, unnoticed by the majority, and yet they shape the way people live, think, and feel. This understanding became the foundation of his approach, guiding every choice, every frame, and every interaction throughout the project. Keanu was ready to release the video, knowing it carried not just a story, but a philosophy of attentiveness, care, and quiet human connection. The day finally came when the video went live. Keanu Reeves felt a mix of nervousness and anticipation as he watched the first responses trickle in. Unlike movie premieres, there were no red carpets or fanfare. Instead, there were quiet notifications, comments, and messages that slowly built a picture of how the audience was experiencing the project. Keanu understood that this video wasn't made for fame or viral recognition. It was made to connect, to touch hearts, and to invite viewers into a space of reflection and attention. He braced himself for the reactions, hoping that the subtle details and quiet moments would resonate with those who were willing to truly see them. At first, the responses were varied. Some viewers found the video confusing or too slow. They expected loud visuals or dramatic narratives, but what they received was gentle, reflective, and unhurried. Keanu didn't feel disappointed. He had anticipated this. He knew the video was designed to speak to a particular type of viewer, those who were willing to pause and notice what others might overlook. He focused instead on the messages that spoke to him, the ones from people who had caught the small details and the deeper meaning behind each moment. A few messages stood out immediately. Seniors who took the time to watch carefully shared how the video had shifted their perspective on ordinary routines. One person wrote about noticing the way sunlight filtered through the kitchen window every morning, and how that simple observation now brought moments of peace. Another mentioned how they began appreciating the quiet rituals of making tea or reading a book, something they had long taken for granted. These responses confirmed what Keanu had hoped, that even if only a fraction of viewers truly engaged, the impact could be profound. Keanu also received comments from younger viewers who had initially skipped through the video, but were drawn back when something subtle caught their eye. They described moments of realization, like noticing the gentle smile of a participant, the soft creak of a chair, or the rhythm of a routine. They shared how these small observations reminded them to slow down in their own lives, to pay attention, and to appreciate the everyday moments that often pass unnoticed. Keanu felt a quiet satisfaction knowing that the video was fulfilling its purpose, to awaken awareness and mindfulness in those who watched attentively. Some viewers shared personal stories sparked by the video. One person described how watching a participant carefully fold a newspaper reminded them of their own grandparent, who had a similar habit. Another mentioned how the scenes of simple interactions encouraged them to reconnect with an elderly neighbor, noticing details in their life that had previously gone unobserved. Keanu realized that the video was not just entertainment, it was a catalyst for reflection and human connection. It was creating ripples in ways he hadn't fully imagined, and the effect was quiet but meaningful. The subtle power of the video became more apparent as he read deeper into the responses. Some seniors mentioned that the video reminded them of forgotten skills or habits, inspiring them to pick up activities that brought calm and joy. Others wrote about noticing patterns in daily life that they had overlooked for years. Keanu understood that the 1% who truly caught these lessons were experiencing a shift in awareness. It wasn't about teaching in the traditional sense. It was about gently guiding viewers to notice, reflect, and reconnect with the simple truths of life. This realization reinforced the value of subtlety and patience in the storytelling process. Keanu also reflected on the creative process itself. Every scene, every small pause, every quiet gesture had been deliberate, yet open to the natural flow of life. He remembered moments when a participant's unplanned smile or movement added a layer of meaning no script could predict. He realized that part of the video's impact came from embracing the unexpected, from allowing reality to unfold organically. It reminded him that life's most profound lessons often emerge unplanned, in moments that seem ordinary until observed with attention. While reviewing the feedback, Keanu noticed that some viewers had shared similar experiences to those he observed at the senior center. They described small routines, quiet habits, and everyday joys that resonated deeply with the video's themes. This connection between participants, the content, and viewers reinforced the idea that authenticity and observation were more important than spectacle. The video had succeeded in creating a shared human experience, where viewers felt seen and understood without being told what to think or feel. In the weeks following the release, Keanu continued to watch reactions. He noticed that viewers were not just commenting, they were acting. People wrote about changing small aspects of their daily lives, paying more attention to details, or taking time to connect with loved ones. These changes were subtle, often unnoticed by the broader world, yet they reflected the very essence of what the video had aimed to convey. Keanu understood that true impact wasn't always loud or visible. It was quiet, personal, and often transformative in ways that only the individual could feel. The experience also deepened Keanu's understanding of storytelling. He realized that subtlety and observation could be just as powerful as dramatic narratives. Moments of quiet reflection, unplanned gestures, and authentic interactions had the power to resonate across generations. The 1% of viewers who truly caught these lessons became the heart of the project. They were the ones who carried the message forward, integrating it into their daily lives and inspiring others around them. Keanu felt a profound sense of fulfillment knowing that these ripples of awareness were spreading. He also noticed that some comments mentioned a feeling of peace while watching the video. Viewers described it as calming, reflective, and comforting, a rare experience in the fast-paced digital world. Keanu realized that the video had created a space for mindfulness, a momentary pause where viewers could slow down and engage with life in a more thoughtful way. The effect was subtle but powerful, reinforcing the value of patience and attention in communication. Keanu reflected on the journey that had brought him here. He remembered his initial hesitation, wondering if the project was worth pursuing. He recalled the quiet observations at the senior center, the small stories shared by participants, and the challenges of capturing authentic moments on camera. Now, seeing the reactions and the subtle impact on viewers, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. The video had exceeded his expectations in ways that numbers and statistics could never measure. It had touched lives, created connections, and inspired reflection, exactly as he had hoped. The process also reinforced an important lesson for Keanu. Meaningful work does not always reach the masses, but that does not make it any less valuable. He understood that the true measure of success was not popularity, but resonance. Even if only a small percentage of viewers caught the subtle lessons, the depth of their experience mattered far more than quantity. This realization became a guiding principle for his future projects, reminding him that the goal of meaningful storytelling is to touch hearts, even quietly and without fanfare. Keanu also felt a renewed sense of connection to humanity. Watching the ways in which viewers engaged with the video, he saw a shared appreciation for simple truths, authentic moments, and human connection. He realized that people across generations and backgrounds could relate to the same subtle gestures and quiet observations. It was a reminder that beneath the surface differences of life, there are shared experiences and emotions that unite people. The video had become a bridge, connecting individuals through the power of noticing, reflecting, and appreciating life's small details. Throughout the release period, Keanu continued to engage with the feedback, responding thoughtfully where appropriate. He didn't treat the comments as publicity or metrics. He treated them as real interactions with people who had taken the time to notice, reflect, and share their thoughts. This approach reinforced the human-centric nature of the project, emphasizing authenticity, respect, and connection over promotion or visibility. Keanu felt proud that the video maintained its integrity and purpose in a world that often prioritizes attention over depth. As weeks passed, he also noticed a ripple effect. Viewers who were inspired by the video began sharing it with friends and family, discussing the small observations and subtle lessons with others. These conversations were not loud or viral in the traditional sense, but they were meaningful. They reflected a deeper engagement with life, an increased awareness of the small moments that make up daily experience, and a renewed appreciation for human connection. Keanu realized that the video had become more than a visual project. It was a tool for cultivating mindfulness, empathy, and presence. Keanu reflected quietly on the impact of the project. He thought about the 1% of viewers who truly understood the subtle messages, about the lives that were touched, and about the small but meaningful changes inspired by observation and attention. He realized that the journey of creating the video had been as transformative for him as it had been for the audience. He had learned patience, humility, and the importance of noticing, listening, and appreciating. These lessons were now a part of his life, shaping the way he approached his work, interactions, and personal experiences. The release of the video became a quiet milestone, not celebrated with fanfare, but appreciated through reflection and subtle human connection. Keanu recognized that the power of subtlety, authenticity, and attention to detail could resonate deeply, even if only with a small audience. He understood that impact does not always come from being seen by millions, but from being noticed by those who are willing to pay attention. The video had achieved this, and in doing so, it fulfilled its purpose in a profound and meaningful way. In the weeks that followed, Keanu continued to observe and learn from the responses. Each message, comment, and shared story reminded him of the value of slowing down and noticing life's small details. He understood that the video was a small ripple in a larger stream of human experience, and that even small ripples could create meaningful waves. The journey had not only produced a project that resonated with viewers, but had also reinforced the lessons of patience, observation, and quiet connection that he had sought to convey from the beginning. Keanu felt a quiet pride in knowing that the video had found its audience, even if it was small. The project had become a reflection of life itself, subtle, layered, and full of meaning for those who were willing to notice. It had taught him that the true value of creation lies not in mass appeal or immediate recognition, but in the ability to touch hearts, provoke reflection, and inspire mindful living. The 1% who caught the subtle lessons were a testament to the power of quiet observation, authenticity, and human connection. And Keanu knew that the impact of this work would continue to unfold in ways he might never fully see. After weeks of watching the video reach its audience, Keanu Reeves reflected on the journey with a sense of quiet fulfillment. He had entered this project uncertain, hesitant about whether anyone would notice the subtle lessons he wanted to share. Now seeing the responses, he understood that the work had touched lives in ways far beyond what he had expected. The project had not been about numbers, views, or viral fame. It had been about connection, observation, and the quiet impact of paying attention. Even though only a small fraction of viewers fully understood the message, their experiences validated every effort, every moment of patience, and every careful observation he had invested. Keanu thought about the 1% of seniors who had truly caught the subtle lessons embedded in the video. They wrote about noticing things in daily life that had previously gone unnoticed, finding joy in small rituals, and appreciating the ordinary in extraordinary ways. Some shared stories of reconnecting with old friends or family members, inspired by the gentle reminders of connection and presence shown in the video. Others described moments of personal reflection, rediscovering habits or practices that had been forgotten over time. These responses confirmed what Keanu had realized long before filming began. The depth of impact matters more than the breadth. He also reflected on the process of creating the video. Each scene had been painstakingly crafted, yet intentionally left open for natural moments to emerge. He had learned that authenticity cannot be forced. It must be observed, nurtured, and allowed to breathe. He recalled the unplanned moments, a soft smile, a thoughtful glance, the subtle movement of hands that became the heart of the project. These moments had no script or rehearsal, yet they carried more meaning than anything staged could. Keanu understood that the beauty of the project lay in embracing life as it was, imperfect, spontaneous, and full of understated lessons. Through the release and the ongoing responses, Keanu felt a renewed appreciation for the human experience. He realized that people longed for authenticity, for connection, and for moments of reflection in a world that often moved too fast. The video had offered a space for viewers to pause, notice, and consider the small details that shape everyday life. He understood that this kind of impact was subtle and cumulative, spreading quietly from one viewer to another. It was not flashy or immediate, but it had the power to influence thoughts, behaviors, and even emotional well-being. Keanu thought about the way viewers engaged with the video. Some had shared it with friends and family, sparking discussions about simple habits, routines, and observations that carried hidden meaning. Others had revisited the video multiple times, noticing details they had missed in earlier viewings. These patterns mirrored his own experience at the senior center, where small acts of observation led to deeper understanding. He realized that the project had succeeded in creating a reflective space, allowing people to reconnect with themselves and others in subtle yet profound ways. The process also left a lasting impression on Keanu personally. Spending hours observing, listening, and documenting had taught him lessons about patience, empathy, and mindfulness. He had come to understand that life's most meaningful moments are often those that go unnoticed, that authenticity cannot be rushed, and that attention to detail enriches both the observer and the observed. These lessons had become embedded in his approach to work and life, influencing how he interacted with people, approached projects, and appreciated ordinary experiences. Keanu also considered the broader implications of the project. In a world dominated by speed, spectacle, and immediate gratification, the video offered a counterpoint, a chance to slow down, observe, and reflect. It reminded viewers that beauty and meaning exist in the details, and that paying attention can transform how one experiences life. He realized that even though only a small percentage of people might fully appreciate these lessons, their lives could be deeply enriched, creating ripples that extended far beyond the initial viewership. The quiet influence of meaningful work could outlast fleeting trends and viral moments. The 1% of viewers who caught the lessons became, in a sense, the ambassadors of the project. They shared their reflections with others, inspired small changes in their habits, and became more attentive to life's subtleties. Keanu recognized that these individuals were the true measure of the video's success. It was not about reaching everyone, but about reaching the right people who could carry the message forward in their own lives. The depth of understanding mattered far more than the number of viewers, and this realization reinforced the importance of intentionality in creation. Keanu also reflected on the collaborative nature of the project. From the seniors who shared their stories to the crew who captured subtle details, everyone contributed to a shared vision. Each person brought authenticity, patience, and care to the process, and the final product was richer because of it. He realized that meaningful work is rarely the result of a single effort. It emerges from collaboration, observation, and attention to the nuances that make human experiences unique. The project had taught him to value these contributions and to appreciate the collective effort behind authenticity. Throughout the process, Keanu had learned to embrace uncertainty. He had entered the project unsure of whether anyone would notice the subtle messages, but he discovered that the impact of careful, human-centric storytelling is often unseen at first. It unfolds slowly, quietly, and in unexpected ways. The lessons embedded in small gestures, quiet observations, and authentic interactions can resonate deeply, even if only with a fraction of the audience. He came to understand that patience and faith in the process are essential, and that true value often lies in the unseen influence a work can have. Keanu also considered the long-term effects of the project. While the immediate reactions were gratifying, he knew that the most meaningful changes would occur over time. Viewers who internalize the lessons might approach daily routines differently, notice subtle interactions, and cultivate mindfulness in their lives. They might share these observations with others, creating a ripple effect of awareness and attention. In this way, the video had become more than content. It had become a catalyst for subtle but lasting transformation in the lives of those who engaged deeply. The project also reaffirmed Keanu's belief in the value of human connection. By observing, listening, and reflecting, he had experienced firsthand the power of empathy and presence. He realized that the video's impact stemmed not from spectacle, but from its ability to honor human experiences, emotions, and rituals. It reminded him that attention, respect, and authenticity are fundamental to meaningful communication. This understanding influenced how he approached his interactions with people, both professionally and personally, reinforcing the importance of connection over performance. Keanu also thought about the broader lessons for life. The video had highlighted the value of slowing down, observing carefully, and appreciating subtle moments. He realized that these principles extend beyond filmmaking. They are applicable to daily life, relationships, and personal growth. Paying attention, noticing small gestures, and embracing quiet reflection can enrich experiences, strengthen bonds, and foster a deeper understanding of oneself and others. The project had become a personal reminder of these truths, reinforcing habits and attitudes that would stay with him indefinitely. As he continued reflecting, Keanu understood that the journey itself had been transformative. From initial hesitation to careful observation, patient filming, and thoughtful engagement with viewers, every step had shaped him as a person and as an artist. The video was more than a product. It was a record of growth, attention, and human-centric storytelling. He recognized that meaningful work often requires vulnerability, patience, and the willingness to embrace uncertainty, and that the rewards are often subtle, profound, and lasting. The responses from viewers also reminded Keanu of the importance of perspective. Everyone experiences life differently, and what resonates with one person may go unnoticed by another. By focusing on subtlety, authenticity, and genuine human moments, the video allowed each viewer to interpret and connect in their own way. This approach honored individuality and encouraged personal reflection, emphasizing that meaningful communication is not about uniform impact, but about creating space for personal engagement and insight. Keanu felt a quiet sense of satisfaction, knowing that the video had achieved its purpose. It had created a space for reflection, observation, and connection. It had inspired viewers to notice the beauty and significance in everyday moments. It had honored the experiences of seniors, embraced authenticity, and celebrated the subtle lessons of life. Even if the majority of viewers did not fully catch these lessons, the project had left a meaningful mark on those who did, fulfilling the vision Keanu had held from the beginning. Reflecting on the entire journey, Keanu realized that the video was more than content. It was a philosophy. It represented the value of attention, patience, and human connection. It demonstrated that subtlety can be powerful, that authenticity matters, and that meaningful work often resonates quietly rather than loudly. He understood that reaching a small but attentive audience can be more impactful than reaching millions superficially. This insight became a guiding principle, reinforcing the importance of intention, observation, and care in all aspects of life and creative work. Finally, Keanu felt gratitude. Gratitude for the seniors who shared their stories, for the crew who captured authenticity, for the viewers who engaged deeply, and for the journey itself. The project had reminded him of the beauty of ordinary moments, the power of attention, and the quiet ways in which meaningful work can touch lives. He understood that while only a small percentage of people might catch every subtle lesson, the value of those lessons is immeasurable. The experience had left a lasting impression on him, reinforcing a lifelong commitment to noticing, reflecting, and appreciating the small but profound moments that make life meaningful.